think our next speaker literally needs no introduction. If you don't know her, you will. She has been in a lot of our stages at EXPCon, EXPCon 1 and 2. She is an amazing, amazing person, not just an amazing realtor. She leads one of the biggest teams, I'm going to say, here in Canada, the Jennifer Jones team out around Toronto, Ontario. She's a coach. She's a best-selling author on Amazon. Her and her husband own multiple properties across Canada and North America in general. But this woman is just here to give you so much information, as she always does. She always tells her top secrets, her things that she's working on. Incredible, incredible woman, incredible speaker, and it is an absolute honor to bring up Jennifer Jones.
Oh my gosh, what an incredible introduction. So hello, Vancouver. What an incredible city. We love it here. Whenever we come here and it's sunny, I say to Keith, we need to move. And then it gets cloudy. And then we start looking at Florida again, right? So we did go on a hike yesterday, and our hike leader is not currently in the room, Randy Dick. Has anyone hiked with Randy Dick before in Vancouver? Anybody hike in the room in BC, right? So is it flat? No. There's like vertical hills, right, in Vancouver. So Keith and I come out coming from Ontario, walking on flat surfaces into a easy hike, Randy says, and we end up on a vertical hill. So 2 hours and 10 minutes later, I'm hobbling onto the stage. So we'll thank Randy later, right? So I'm from Toronto, Ontario, and I'm going to talk today a little bit about my personal journey, because I do think that for everybody, you look at other people and you think, wow, you know, they've achieved this success. It's easy for them, right? Well, I've had quite a ride. So I was born in Toronto. My parents were both immigrants, mom from Germany, dad from England, high standards, right? Anyone else first generation immigrant family? Okay. So the only way out of my house, being a girl, was to get married. Anyone else? Not leaving the house without being married? This makes me old. So I'm really 89. Had a lot of work done, right? So at 21 years old, I married a police officer who was about 8 years older, because I felt I had no power. So running a writing business, going to university, doing all these things, but I really felt I didn't have my own power. And I think part of that was being a woman of my generation and seeing my stay-at-home mom and other women around. I'm sure other women can relate. Anyone else? Couple people? That's great. So I didn't really have my own plan and ended up becoming part of someone else's. My house became a crime scene at 22 years old. So came from a stable family, 5 kids, normal parents, and ended up in a domestic violence situation. He attempted to kill me, shot up the house, ended up having to testify against him, which was terrifying to say the least, because at that time in Ontario, it's actually the first time that they had brought in a rule saying that in a domestic violence situation, the woman could be forced to testify. So I actually planned to leave, and I was on the phone with a friend of mine, and then immediately after getting off the call and telling him I was going to vacate and I was going to go to another country, I got a phone call from a police services investigator who said, and by the way, we have reason to believe you're going to leave the country, and if you do, we're going to extradite you and bring you back to testify. Okay, so my phone was tapped. That's awesome. So I went to court, testified, and guess what? Back then, what do you think happened to him after actually shooting up the house? Nothing. Got to remain a cop? Yep. Nothing. What would happen to him now? Go to jail. So out of protection for my family, still being concerned for their safety, I flew away. So I flew away to Australia. And life was really scary at that time. I remember just being unsure of my future. I'd made a poor decision. I wasn't sure I could trust myself anymore. And on that flight over, I remember praying. I was like, God, you know what? I don't know if I can do this. Life is tough. Just send me someone to take care of me. I just want to be taken care of. This is just too much. It's just too much, too hard. Be very careful what you wish for, because you get exactly what you ask for, right? So I came back from Australia after 18 months. That was an incredible experience, amazing country. Highly recommend everyone go there. And I was still attracted to people who had qualities that I believed I did not possess, right? So now I became attracted to someone who was 18 years older, right? Very successful guy. And I felt that his success would help me feel successful. Anyone else? I know that's not a great thing to admit, but that is the truth. So I learned a lot from him. He was extremely tough, very difficult personality to be with. We have an incredible daughter that I'm blessed to have. And at that time, he reflected back to me a lot of things that I needed to see about myself, right? I could look into that mirror he was showing me, and I actually started to do the work on myself. So fast forward 10 years, and I got to a place where I realized I do have my own power. I do have my own strength. I can be my own woman and be successful in this world without a man. And I left. He wasn't able to make the change to support me, so I ended up leaving. So left my marriage at 33 years old, have my incredible daughter. She's just an amazing person. And when I left that relationship, I made a decision that I would earn $1 million myself. So that was an actual declaration. So I want to say this to everyone out there. You have to declare, write down, and visualize what it is that you want. So this is crazy travel through horse racing, because I got into horse racing because it's so related to real estate, right? We'd been buying and selling properties in Sarasota with my husband, and I got into horse racing. So I became a horse trainer. I owned them. I raced them all through North America. Was blessed to go on the Sheikh Mohammed, they call it the gold ticket, with the Emirates Airlines 7-star to the Dubai Cup. Fantastic opportunities I had. Not unlike real estate, we have the opportunity to meet so many incredible people, right? So many incredible clients just that have had major impacts on the world. So, enter 5 years, Mr. Magic. This is my husband. God love him. Okay, so most of the time I love him dearly. And then there's a couple moments here and there where mentally I dig a hole that's large enough to put his body into. Anybody else watch a Dateline 2020? No? Not so much? Okay. Yeah. He did post something about that. Keith and I together, right from the get-go, started getting into buying properties, renovating, because he was a contractor. He was also a fire captain. He's since retired, but an amazing high-end finisher for construction. He didn't have the confidence at that time to really do it for himself, so we've been working for someone else for a long time, 25 years, as a second full-time job. So I encouraged him because I believed in him, and together we were able to build this real estate business. Together we did foster care. This is Henny. So this is one of the children that we had. She was 18 months old. We had her. Thank you. I highly recommend that as well. We had her for about 5 months, and on the day that we had to give her back, because we would have adopted her, we had to give her over to her aunt. And I remember, like, every time I'd go take her over there and hand her over, she would scream for me. She would put her hands out and scream for me. So the last time I was there, I prayed to God before I dropped her off and just said, Lord, please show me she's going to be okay. And that was the first time that I handed her over and she actually put her arms out for her aunt and laid her head on her shoulder. So this has just been an incredible journey, and I'm very grateful to Keith, because not every man in a partnership would be open to doing that as well. So thank you, Keith. So got into real estate because Keith and I were flipping properties. It made sense. Who got into real estate because you were flipping properties? Yeah, usually there's quite a few in a room. Great reason to get in. You get to make your own and keep your own commission, right? And this is really something I hadn't planned on. I remember a very amazing, intuitive woman who had said to me years prior, she said, I don't see you doing what you're doing right now. I see you as a realtor with all these different businesses that come off it. And I said, no way in hell. Over my dead body would I ever do that? Well, here we stand today, right? So got into real estate, and at first we got in and we had, a few people reaching out to sell their properties. It wasn't something I ever had intention to do, was actually sell for others. At the end of the first year, I looked and it was like, wow, I made $150,000 not trying. Interesting. So I made the decision that, wow, if I was intentional, I wonder if I could do $500,000 next year. So went to work, put the intention out there. To second year, $500,000. At the end of that $500,000 year, I made the decision I would make $1 million the third year, which goes back to when I was 33, making the decision I would make $1 million on my own. Thank you. Thank you. So I know it sounds crazy, but the way I did this was actually through visualization and manifestation. So how many people in the room actually believe this is a real thing? How many believe that your thoughts create your reality? Yeah, quite a lot of people, right? So we would drive the lakefront, Keith and I. In the morning, it'd be 6 o'clock in the morning. We'd have the kids at home. We would drink our Tim Hortons coffee, go 30 minutes one way along the lake, 30 minutes the other way along the lake. We moved into a new area. I'm a brand new realtor within a couple of years at that point. And there's 3 dominant area agents. Their signs are everywhere. So I would drive the lake back and forth every day and declare, I am so grateful all these buyers and sellers are mine. And I would visualize it and see it and feel it and imagine it. And literally the next year you could drive the lakefront and almost all the signage was mine, right? That is through the power of your belief and the power of your thoughts. It's so cool. So that's our little office that we started off with. Okay, so how did I get going? And this is always a big thing. For how many people are newer in the room or want to increase the number of deals they're doing? Okay, so there's still quite a few people. Okay, so what I did is put a just listed with sign on our lawn. So if you have a home or somewhere that a friend maybe where you could put a sign, we would actually put a just listed sign that looked like a for sale sign, because how many people actually read the sign? Like no one, right? Ever. So then I would do a party for all my neighbors, invite them over, and we would have, cocktails and things. And it wasn't there as a real estate thing. We would say, come on over and get to meet your neighbors. Then, of course, you ask them, and what do you do for a living? And then they ask you, what do you do for a living? And my elevator pitch at that point was, look, what we do differently is we actually go into your property because we're investors, look at it, figure out in a cheap and cheerful way, what are the things we can do to help net you more money? So maybe that's some painting, maybe it's flooring, maybe it's, new trim, whatever it is. So the whole idea of this was, we would actually do the work. There's a lot of days I spent painting cottages or steam cleaning rugs, right? That sweat equity that goes in. And what do you think that does for a repeat referral business? A lot, right? Everyone's like, wow, this girl really works. So that's the reason that it took off so quickly. Then we got into doing these free coffee events with postcards. This is a huge thing. So quarterly, we do a free coffee event we'll host it about 4 or 5 different coffee shops, different areas. There's a postcard that'll have like a joke on it, pay it forward, free home evaluation. We go to the coffee shop, we prepay anywhere from $200 to $700 for the day. We have a set time in the morning that coffee event starts. People go through the drive-through or go into the coffee shop, and instead of paying, they're given a postcard from us. We do deals and listings off that quarterly Tim Hortons and other coffee shops event every single time. Okay? So we believe in the law of reciprocity. Give before you receive. We go into listing appointments. We have a listing bag. We have, a whole brochure on selling with our team. We make sure even with that we're touching each part of the disc profile. What do high C people want, guys? If you're high C, what do you need to see? Stats, right? Somebody said stats. If I had a chocolate bar right now, I'd throw it to whoever said, thank you for participating. The whole idea is you want to be able to promote other people. So by inviting neighbors in, going back to the neighbors, the idea is you're finding out what they do and then working on how do I help them get more business? How do I connect them with other people I know to help them do better? Because guess what they want to do? If you're helping them win, they want what for you? They want you to win too, right? It's amazing. So we do use a lot of NLP and DISC. Like I found for myself, I do have a pretty high social EQ. So what I found was not everyone is there right away. So we have to educate team members on using neurolinguistics programming for sales and DISC profiling for clients. So these are our gazillion events that we do, and this is a big thing for doing business within your community. We do things for realtors, so you can see the dialing for dollars. We've taken dogs in situations where they were going to be sent to the Humane Society, put them in with the trainer, rehomed them, and done that publicly. All our parades, our demolition derbies. We have a race car we're sponsoring right now. All kinds of stuff. So constant community and agent events. There's a picture of our office that Keith fully renovated. It's only about the fourth office renovation he had to do. Thank you, Keith. And talking about the visualization is real. So just a quick little exercise for those of you that don't buy it. Just close your eyes for 1 minute. Everybody close your eyes. And now in your mind, I want you to imagine that you're in your kitchen and you're opening your fridge. And when you open your fridge, there's a beautiful lemon. You can see its bright color. You see the bumps on the skin. You take it out of your fridge. You put it on your countertop. You take out a big knife. Watch your fingers. Chop it in half. You hear that sound? Chop it in quarters. Can you smell it? Now pick it up. Bring it up to your mouth. Bite into it. Now open your eyes. What do you experience? Anyone, shout it out. Sour, right? Yeah, pucker cheeks, salivate, right? Because the truth is that the brain cannot determine the difference between what you're thinking, what you're visualizing, and what is actually there. You're going to have the same experience. You can even work out and do sit-ups and get 33% of the result by not going to the gym. Who doesn't want that, right? Oh, we can hike that way too, Randy. Let's visually hike. So disc profile, I'm just going to give you a really quick example. We went to a listing appointment the other day, a big one in Toronto, and we did a ton of research on LinkedIn prior to going. Okay, we determined the wife, because she rode dressage, was a detail person. So we prepared our listing presentation and our booklet with lots of stats and took our time and went through all of that with her. That's the reason we're getting that listing. Really quick little exercise, turn to your neighbor. Everyone turn to a neighbor really quick. Okay, ask them where they last traveled and watch where their eyes go. Okay, done. All right, everybody, shh. It's like the kindergarten, shh, right? Okay, so the quick little tip here is if they looked up, they're using what? How do they process information? Visually. If they look to the side, they process information how? Auditorily. If they look down, they're what? Kinesthetic. When you're dealing with a client and they're a visual person, can you call them on the phone and give them details of an offer? Yes or no? No, because they will miss half of what you say. And then what do they say the next week when you reference the offer? You never told me that, right? And now we've just broken trust, rapport, and we are going to be in a quick race to see who fires who first, right? So the big idea here is that we are bombarded by brands. You need to set yourself apart from everybody else. And what that means is being authentically you. There is no one like you. God created no one like you. You are special. Stop trying to be everyone else. To Aaron's point, stop scrolling and consuming and become the person you're meant to be. I'm Jennifer Jones. Thank you very much for listening to me today.